Let's talk about toxic positivity. Leslie Wells, connection coach here. I help individuals work on their relationships, improve, heal, repair, looking at things through an attachment lens so they can show up better for their partner and understand how their partner needs to be able to receive love and what speaks to them. As a former fearful avoidant, I cannot stand toxic positivity because it really invalidates somebody's feelings and it shows that you're not really interested in learning their interpersonal experience. And so toxic positivity is this mindset to just have a positive attitude about everything, to look on the bright side. And some of the things that you will hear people say is, oh, well, at least you can be grateful for this, or it could have been worse. Or things like failure's never an option, or just look for the silver lining. Or one of my favorites, everything happens for a reason. That may be true. Things may happen for a reason, but I don't have to like that reason. Or at least XYZ didn't happen. Well, maybe XYZ didn't happen, but A happened and I don't like A. So I get the idea. The idea is that if you keep your brain positively framed, that you're going to be healthier emotionally, mentally, physically. Yes, physically. Your inner thoughts actually really affect you physically, especially when it comes to long-term chronic illness. So yeah, there's a lot of benefit in being able to reframe your thoughts. A huge portion of what I teach in my coaching is how to reframe your thoughts so that they are good and productive, and that so you are healthier, and so you're not coming from a place of attachment wounds, self-hindering beliefs. You're actually looking at things through a clear perspective and not making assumptions. While there are some cases of anxiety and depression that have chemical imbalances, there's also a lot of studies that have shown that we have control over the neurochemicals that go through our brain by looking at our nervous system and by working on our thoughts. And so a huge part of what I do is teach people to take their thoughts and reframe them and hold them up to what's true. Because you can literally change and get out of a state of depression or anxiety in a ton of cases through doing that. But here's the difference. Whenever we are looking at our thoughts, we are actually examining the feelings and emotions that go along with them and that we attribute to those thoughts. And so we're capturing the thoughts and allowing ourselves to acknowledge them without judgment. And so when we look at this toxic positivity, we're very much like judging our thoughts and our feelings. So for instance, I saw a therapist the other day that made a post and had some different things of how to word things differently because words matter. 100% agree that words matter, and we can speak life or death over ourselves, our loved ones, our relationships through words. But I don't think we should say words in a way that neglect our feelings or emotions. I truly believe that feelings need to be felt, they need to be experienced, our emotions need to be called out loud and examined. Typically, our feelings and our emotions are trying to alert us to an unmet need or that something is wrong and it needs to be examined. Feelings are absolutely not facts. They change, they may come from biases from our childhood, from things that we believe incorrectly about ourselves. They're not facts, but we still have to examine them and break them down and allow our body to process them. So one of the things she said is instead of saying the words, I'm jealous of them, then say, I'm inspired by them. And that's cute, but at the same time, you may really be experiencing feelings of jealousy. And you need to be able to examine those and let that come up and put words to that without judging yourself. And then the next steps that you can take are reframing it to see, why am I looking at this person and feeling jealous? What's going on with me? Where do I feel inadequate? And what do I need to fix about myself and my thoughts about myself to look at things differently and not feel this for this person? But to say words that dismiss the feelings and invalidate the true feelings, that's not true. That's not truth. You're not actually saying what actually is. You're trying to skirt around it. So toxic positivity minimizes the actual emotions and human experience that you are going through. It's a way to avoid something uncomfortable instead of sitting in the feelings and the thoughts that are uncomfortable. Sometimes it's a good idea to play out our thoughts and see where they're going to go. And if we play them to the full end, especially if you're a fearful avoidant, then a lot of times you're like, wow. When you say it out loud and play it all the way out, you're like, that is completely not logical and I just went down a spiral. It's okay to journal out, to write out, to say out your thoughts, even if they are not very positive. Toxic positivity is like a quick fix for dealing with a problem instead of actually focusing on the problem. So, let me just think positive thoughts, or let me just have positive vibes. All of those things are really rushing through the problem instead of actually processing it and allowing yourself space to dig in and examine the problem and solve it. It encourages shame. which is something that is never productive and something that always needs to be examined and reframed. It also encourages suppression. If you just talk yourself out of your bad feelings, then you're not dealing with them. You're stuffing them down and they're going to come out somewhere at some point in time. It's ignoring the underlying needs that actually create the emotion and the feelings in your body. And if you are someone who typically gives toxic positivity to other people, oh, just look at this, or good thing this didn't happen, or, well, be grateful you have a job. Okay, I can actually be grateful that I have a job and still be frustrated at things that are happening in my job. That's okay. You can actually have two contradictory things going on. You can be grateful for something and also be frustrated with something. The two can coincide. But if you are someone who uses that on other people and gives those little cliches all the time, it really is dismissing their personal experience. It's invalidating their feelings. And it also really lacks empathy. It's like you're not even taking the time to care what's going on with them. You're just slapping a Band-Aid on their feelings with a quick cliche and moving on past it. One of my favorite ones is time heals all wounds. No, it actually doesn't. You know what heals wounds? Actually putting in the work to heal the wounds. Or for Christians, my favorite is God will never give you more than you can handle. That's a load of crap. Actually, God will give you way more than you can handle, and he will literally bring you to your knees so that you have to surrender everything to him, and that's how he shows up in your life and builds trust with him. It's just not true. He will definitely give you more than you can handle. Have you ever read the Bible where people were actually like dying for God and went through all kinds of insane, crazy things? Perhaps one of the worst things with the toxic positivity, and it really puts you into more of a trauma response, because if you keep blowing through all of these things and just trying to give yourself toxic positivity, then at some point you're going to encounter something that is too big for you to just minimize away and for you to slap a cliche on it and move on past it. And you're going to end up in a trauma response with absolutely no tools. And some of the biggest tools that you're going to need for healing from trauma are actually allowing your feelings to come up, experiencing them in your body, allowing yourself to feel emotions, naming those emotions, calling them out, and actually be able to identify the unmet needs and the insecure attachment wounds that are creating the feelings and the emotions in the first place. So it really is important to actually spend time and sit in these things and sit in the discomfort rather than just move on past it. So, not a fan of toxic positivity. What I am a fan of is feeling the feelings, feeling your emotions, doing the nervous system work, identifying all of the needs, identifying the wounds, figuring out all the things that you need to bring to your conscious from your subconscious, and then you can reframe them in a positive, productive way without denying the truth behind those things. Telling yourself all of these thoughts that are positive is not truly going to work if you're not telling your brain things that are true, that your nervous system and your brain can actually respond to. It knows the difference if you're just BSing it or not. So definitely capture every thought. Definitely don't get stuck in very negative thought processes that go on and on and on. But don't fool yourself with toxic positivity.